Ma'am, we are starting at 7:05 only, no?
Let us just wait for the thing, sir. Once we exit 30:35, we'll just start, sir. Then let the people join, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Rajesh.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening, Rajesh, sir.
Yeah, Rajesh. Trivandrum chapter.
Good evening, Rajesh, sir.
Good evening, madam.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Sampath Kumar, sir.
Good evening. Good evening to all.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, Sampath Kumar, sir.
Good evening, PVS.
Good evening, sir. Good evening. Nice to see you.
Sir, Senthil, sir, if it is possible that invitation you shared, no, sir, that we can have it present it, no, sir, now.
Oh, ma'am. Yeah.
Till they
It's
start
available
presenting,
in the group,
we
ma'am.
can just have it.
Just. You want me to share it?
ஆமா ஆமா இதுல நீங்க ஸ்கிரீன் பிரசன்ட் பண்ணுங்க அது எம்டி ஸ்கிரீன் எம்டிஆ நீ கூட பண்ணலாம் மேடம் நீ கூட பண்ணலாம்
நான் இப்ப பண்றேன் சார் ஒரு நிமிஷம் சார் டவுன்லோட் பண்ணி ட்ரை பண்றேன்
பண்ணுங்க மேம் ஷூர்
பேனர் சார் அவ்வளவுதான் வெர்ச்சுவல் பேனர்
ப்ளூ பேனர் பண்ணலாம்
கோயம்புத்தூர் சாப்டர் டாக்டர் வெங்கடேசன் ஜாயின் பண்ணிருக்காரு யா குட் ஈவினிங் சார்
எஸ் வெங்கடேசன் சார் ஜாயின் 5 minutes
good I have seen his name
இல்லைண்ணா கேட்டுக்கலாம் சரியா ஓகே சார் குட் ஈவினிங் சுப்பிரமணியம் சார்
குட் ஈவினிங் சார்
வெங்கடேஷ் ஹியர்
குட் ஈவினிங்
சார் எஸ்ஆர்ஐடில கொஞ்சம் ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸை ஜாயின் பண்ண சொல்லி இருக்கிறேன்
ஓகே குட் சார்
அவங்களும் ஜாயின் பண்றாங்க
குட் சார்
நைஸ் சார் நைஸ்
சின்ஸ் தி சப்ஜெக்ட் இஸ் வெரி இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங் வைட் கோடிங்
கரெக்ட் நீங்க தான் அதுல கிங் இப்பதான்
அதெல்லாம் இல்லைங்க நான் வந்து லிசன் பண்றதுக்கு வந்திருக்கேன்
இல்ல நீங்களே கண்டக்ட் பண்ணீங்களே கான்டெஸ்ட்
ஆமா சார் நல்லா போயிட்டு இருக்கு
ஓ குட் சார்
Yes, ma'am, we can start recording.
I'll start, ma'am.
1 minute, sir. Let the recording start. 1 minute, sir. Sir, is that screen visible, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Visible.
Very attractive screen. Sir.
Yes, sir. Not it.
Recording is started.
Is recording started? Shall we go ahead, madam?
Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Yeah, very good evening to all. On behalf of CSI Tiruchirappalli, we would like to thank Region 7 Forum for giving us the opportunity for presenting today's webinar. Today's webinar is to be delivered by students from Saranathan Engineering College under the guidance of Dr. Ravi Maran, HOD, AA in Data Science. Dr. Ravi Maran is also the past chairman of CSI Tiruchirappalli. Today's speakers will be Ms. Natania, Amolaa Joseph, and Ms. Sheryl. First, I call upon Dr. Ravi Maran to introduce the speakers to the forum members.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Sendil sir, for your good start. It's gives me a great pleasure to welcome you all. Today's CSE Region 7 student-led webinar on the theme Vibe Coding, the future of software development in the AI era. So we are currently witnessing a transformational shift in the way software is built. Traditionally, the programming required normally it need a deep syntax knowledge, manual logic building, time-intensive development cycle. But today, with the emergence of AI-assisted development, the focus is slightly moving from writing code to designing solutions. This is where the concept of vibe coding becomes highly relevant. So vibe coding represents human creativity working alongside with the AI capability, developers becoming problem designers rather than mere coders, foster innovation with intelligent automation, a shift from how to code to what to create. In the AI era, the future software developer will not just be a programmer, but a solution architect empowered by AI tools. This paradigm is going to redefine software development practices, industry expectation, required skill set of future engineers in near future. And most importantly, how students prepare themselves for the AI-driven workforce. Hence, today's topic is not just relevant, it is essential for the next generation of technologies. So this technology is required for all Gen Z students because they are very vibrant and because of that the topic itself is vibe, right? So I think it's very, very relevant to all the Gen Z students. This is a great pleasure to introduce my student to this CSA students chapter of this webinar session. It gives me a great immense pride to introduce today's speaker, Ms. Natania Amolaa Joseph and Ms. Sheryl Hephzibah. They are third-year students of Artificial Intelligence Data Science from Saranathan College of Engineering, Trichy. Both of them are very passionate learners in emerging technologies and represent the spirit of student-driven innovation, curiosity-led exploration, future-ready thinking. Their interest in AI and next-generation development practices has motivated them to explore this evolving concept of vibe coding. And today, they will be sharing their insights with all of us. It is always inspiring to see young minds stepping forward to contribute to technical discourse. And platform like CSI truly empowers such student leadership. I am confident that today's session will provide new perspective through provoking ideas and practical understanding of the future software development, especially in the area of vibe coding. With this short introduction, I request Sendil sir to take over the further proceedings. Please, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Ravi Maran, sir.
Yeah.
I now request students to start the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the introduction, sir. Okay.
Yeah, kindly proceed.
Yes. Thank you so much for the introduction, sir, and to the esteemed members of the Computer Society of India, and to all the participants and to everyone gathered here, a very pleasant evening to you all. So let's get this started, shall we? Okay. So what if I told you that in 2026, the hottest and the most popular programming language you could think of isn't Python or it's Java or C programming, but it's actually English or your mother tongue? It sounds interesting, right? But to some, it might seem confusing, and no worries, that's why we are here. So our topic today is vibe coding, the future of software development in the artificial intelligence era. So myself, I'm Natania Amolaa Joseph, joined by my friend and my dear classmate, Sheryl Hephzibah. So we'll take you through this journey of vibe coding together. So before Sheryl Hephzibah here will go into detail about what is vibe coding, I will just tell you in just who coined vibe coding and how it came into being. So actually, vibe coding is a very simple topic, so we wouldn't be even taking much of your time here, but I'll just get into detail right now. So vibe coding was actually coined by a person called Andre Karpathy. So I'll get into brief about him as well, because I promise you it will all start to align. So Andre Karpathy, he was a former member and founder of OpenAI, the company that developed ChatGPT. And he was also a former director of artificial intelligence in Tesla. So right now he's a researcher and founder of Eureka Labs. So this Eureka Labs, he actually founded in July 2024, and it is a native startup foundation. So he's explaining that it is revolutionizing education, where he's combining teachers and artificial intelligence, and he's providing a symbiosis like that, where for students, this Eureka Labs assistant, that AI assistant tool will be of guidance to them. And for education purposes, it will increase scalability and accessibility and so on. So this ideology can also be applied to vibe coding as well. So I think many of you would have already known what vibe coding is. Personally, I saw it through Instagram Reels while I was scrolling, and suddenly the algorithm started to push vibe coding this, vibe coding that to me, and that's how I came to know about it. And thanks to this webinar that I actually got into much more detail about what vibe coding was. So 1 year ago, exactly, so on February 2, 2025, Andre Karpathy actually tweeted on X, which was previously known as Twitter. So he went on Twitter and he commented that there's a new kind of coding I like to call vibe coding, where you fully give in to the vibes. So the vibes here may seem like feelings or emotions. And he also explains embrace the exponentials. To me, how I understand this sentence is it's shifting from a linear focus to embracing exponential thinking. So rather than thinking there's only like one solution to a problem, it is actually understanding how technology is improving, how it's evolving, and it's not just slight changes. It's actually developing much faster and much fast than before. And he's also saying, and forget that the code even exists. So this is all possible because of large language models. For example, he has given here, it is Cursor Composer with Sonnet, and large language models such as, ChatGPT, Gemini, and it also comes into the ideology that is generative AI and agentic AI. So generative AI is a reactive type of model. So where you just ask, for example, if I'm asking the ChatGPT or something like that, if I'm asking generate me an essay on vibe coding, it will generate me an essay. Whereas an agentic AI, I'm assuming that a student has already talked about this in Computer Society of India past week. So agentic AI is actually a developer type of model where it actually understands the goals, your objectives. And this in vibe coding, agentic AI in vibe coding is actually evolving with code editors, which we'll be seeing later. And finally, he says, it's not really coding. I just see stuff, say stuff, run stuff, and copy paste stuff, and it mostly works. So right now, I am hoping that you understand a little bit of what vibe coding is. But even if you don't, no worries. My friend here will get into the details of it. Okay, before we even get into the coding, let me ask you something. Like, how many of you feel that coding is hard, not because of the logic, but because of its syntax? You know, that semicolons, that's errors, that doesn't even tell you what went wrong, right? So now just imagine for a second, like, instead of fighting with all the syntax all the time, what if you could just explain the idea, like the same way you explain to your friend? You used to go explain everything to your friend, right? Likewise, just explaining like that. So this shift of thinking, that is exactly what today is about. We are going to talk, and that is what is vibe coding. So it's basically a way of coding where the ideas come first and then typing comes later. So you don't want to sit and type everything, the syntax, the colons, and everything. So, and this idea becomes popular after that. Andri Karpati, like my friend already said, something like very interesting, right? So coding is no longer just about giving just an instruction, but it has become like communicating the intent. So relax, this is not about replacing the programmers. The programmers are never replaced. It's just about changing how we think while we are programming. So now we know why this idea exists, right? So let me make you understand what actually it means. So in the traditional coding, if we look, we tell the computer like how to do everything, each and every instruction is given. But in the vibe coding, we tell the AI what we want actually. So that is the difference. Like instead of writing 200 lines of code, we just give 2 to 3 lines of prompt that explains your idea. It just gives you idea. For example, let us take let me like give a prompt that says create a simple college event website and a registration form, and that shows a confirmation message. So I give this prompt and the AI understands this and it automatically generates the code. We don't want to do it. So now listen carefully, like you are not skipping the learning. You have to learn, but you're shifting your efforts from typing to thinking. So you're giving more time for thinking your idea. So you decide what features matters and what should be simple and what needs important. So vibe coding is not being like laziness or being lazy. It gives you more clarity, and this shift actually changes like how your brains work while coding. So there is a fact that says like our brain actually works in 2 modes. Okay, so one is slow and the other is fast. Okay, so one when you are slow, like slow means like when I give a math problem to you to solve step by step, we are slower in that, right? Then like recognizing your friend's face. If I tell you to give a when I say to recognize your friend's face, and if I tell you to solve a maths problem, which one will you do it faster? Obviously recognizing your friend's face, right? So traditional coding mostly uses the slower thinking, like you think about the logic, the syntax, the memory, the error, everything at once. So that's why beginners often like don't opt for learning coding. They won't enjoy to learn the coding. So this problem is changed by the vibe coding. So now you can think the ideas and not the instruction, like what comma should come next, what is the syntax for that, nothing, not just your ideas. If you think the ideas, like you think what should the app do and what should the users feel, the things that you think is enough, and the AI handles the technical translation. So basically your brain moves from the mechanical work to the creative side. But yeah, so here's an important question that can we use vibe coding everywhere? So these are the questions that arises for me too, like can we use it everywhere, or in every project, in every company, can we use it? But shortly the answer is no. Not directly we cannot use it, but vibe coding is really amazing for learning, for experiments, for hackathons, for our college products. But
vibe coding is very much suitable where speed matters than perfection. It's not for the perfection. You must know the basics for the perfection, but for the speed you can use it by but when you want to build a real world systems, like when we need a structure, when we need testing, when we need safety, there comes a role like vibe engineering. So like trying the ideas in the notebook, we define that as vibe coding, and publishing the same textbook, that we call it as vibe engineering. So we were all talking about coding, and also let's leave the coding for a minute, and hope everybody loves shopping, even I do. So let's talk about shopping. Okay, suppose like you go to a mall to buy a dress. Okay, so do you go into the factory and pick the cloth, cut it, and then stitch it yourself? Will you do that? No, right? You won't do all that stuff. So you just tell the shopkeeper like what's the occasion and what's your style of wearing and what's the vibe you want, right? So that's exactly what happens when vibe coding. So AI is like your personal shopper. So you don't even want to write every line of code. Like you describe the intent, like make it fast, like make it clean, make it user friendly. You just give it. So the AI shows the options like different outfits, like one may be simple, one may be advanced, and one may be even stylish. But listen carefully that the AI does not decide. It cannot decide on its own. So your role is to taste and judge them. Like you give their review, you refine, you give the feedback of it. So vibe coding, according to me, is not like losing control over everything, but it's like controlling from the higher level, I would say. Okay, so now that we understand what vibe coding is, at least to an extent, so what if you actually want to implement this vibe coding? So that is why I have given this vibe coding workflow, and this is the most common workflow that people follow to implement vibe coding. So there are totally 5 steps, and they are very easy. So I'll just explain each one line by line. Okay. So the first one is vision mapping. Vision mapping is the part where you actually think, and thinking is actually comes under like 4 categories, whereas we have logical thinking, analytical thinking, computational thinking, and procedural thinking. Because when you say that one line changes everything, it fundamentally changes everything. It sounds like magic, right? And that is why we need to follow this workflow. Okay. So this thinking right over here, for example, say that you want to create a chess game in your computer. You want to program your computer to create a chess game. This logical thinking, which is the bottom layer, you ask what game do I want to prompt it, or what game do I want to create. So that will be chess. And analytical thinking, you think like, how do I play this game? What are the goals of this game? What are the objectives of this game? So what are the objectives of playing chess? I will think that in the analytical layer. And in the computational layer, you will think about all the logics, the rules of the game, and how do I enforce the rules of chess into this app I'm making. And for procedural thinking, you will think about how do I actually excel in this game? How do people win in this game? So this all happens in procedural thinking, all right? So for procedural thinking is where is strategies and all of this, all of the objectives, who are your target users, and all of this comes under vision mapping. And for that, you need to communicate, you need to think, because if you don't think properly, you cannot communicate with the AI, and AI will not know what prompt it should follow and how to create an app if you are not clear. And that is why I recommend the PRD, which you can see over here. The PRD is nothing but a products required document. So for example, let me show you a PRD actually. So over here, okay, so 1 minute. Okay, over here, I have given a simple prompt, all right. I have given a simple prompt. I have asked the ChatGPT itself to create me a minimal PRD to paste into Lovable and Replit. So these are 2 vibe coding tools, which we'll get into later, and to develop a webinar feedback tool. And I've only mentioned give a pink layout to it. So, and it consists of project overview, analytical skills, computational key features, and everything. And ChatGPT itself has given me a products requirement document. So it consists of the project overview, which consists of the logical thinking that we talked about, and all the analytical thinking part, which is how the objective should be, how the plan should be, and the design requirements. So it has given me the functional requirements, database schema, all the analytical features, and how I'm going to invert this logic over here, and this non-functional requirements. And if I want to develop my app in the future, and if I want to develop it, it is also given me some options. All right. So what I did was I pasted this into the vibe coding tool, so which we'll be seeing later on. Okay. So that is the part of vision mapping. You really need to think carefully, and that is how you get, that is the first stage of the vibe coding. The next is the framework. For example, frameworks are the tools that you're using or the packages you're using. So for example, if you are a programmer and you want to develop a web application, you mention to the AI itself, like use React for my backend, use CSS, HTML, JavaScript for my front end, and use Tailwind CSS for styling. But no worries, if you are a non-coding, if you do not code, and if you're a non-programmer, you can ask the AI itself, and that's why it's there. That's why the AI is present. It's an assistant for us. You can ask the AI itself, I am developing a webinar feedback tool. What framework would you recommend? And it will recommend that framework. So the key over here is we need to be open to learning all of this. We need to understand the structure, because vibe coding, that is how you turn vibe coding into actually vibe learning. That is how you learn things. It's not entirely replacing programming. It's not entirely replacing us. That is how you learn. If you only know the structure of how everything works, you can go with vibe coding. So the next one is, So the next one is checkpoints. Checkpoints is version control. That is, we are saving the project. Imagine working 3 days for a project and then you don't save it, and then one single mistake, for example, you open in a different browser and it completely goes away. That is very disappointing, right? So that is where we need the checkpoints and the version control. For example, a very important tool in checkpointing and version control is obviously Git and GitHub. We all know about Git and GitHub, right? So Git is a version control software, and GitHub is a storage repository that is present on the cloud, where it allows you to save all of the projects that you're doing. So a lot of vibe coding tools have built-in checkpoints, whereas you can also push it in GitHub and you can save your project there. So whenever you are experimenting with your project, you can always go back and you can always experiment and go back to the saved state and then experiment again. So that is why checkpoints are very necessary. And the fourth one, which is debugging. So for example, you are developing an app and you face an error. If you know what the error is, for example, if you are a programmer yourself, you can check the files in the vibe coding tool itself. You can check the files, you can see where the error is, and you can point it out to the AI. I have an error in this particular file, fix it for me. You can point it out like that. Or if you do not know what it is, you can just ask the AI, please fix the issue for me, and it will do so, because that is what an assistant is, right? So then finally, in context, we have the big picture, which is basically we are asking. So the more prompt you give, the more defined the prompt is, the more better your app will be. And that is why I recommended the PRD. But I'm telling you, not all apps, not all tools require a PRD. Just a little prompt is fine. But for apps that have only limited free credits, PRD is recommended. So that is why. And then, for example, you can just describe it in 3 lines. And then for prompt, you can just give a PRD, or you can just paste a mockup that you like. And for an example, I want it exactly like this. Or you can add screenshots and you can give the AI the screenshots and it will give exactly what you want. So that is context. So it is about the environment, the app, the users. And if you have any errors, you just copy paste it, and that is all you need to know about vibe coding workflow. So let us show you an not practically implementation, but we'll show you what it is. So I have copy pasted this PRD that I asked, right? So I've asked the PRD to ChatGPT, and I've copy pasted this into a vibe coding tool. So this is Lovable. So it is a vibe coding platform, and it's actually, so as you can see here, you have multiple templates that you can work with. So for example, if I want to use this template, I can work with this template and something like that.
And these are some of my projects. And for example, and this is where you actually paste it over here, the PRD or the prompt that you're giving. And I've actually pasted it already. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, so I've already pasted. So as in the left side, you can see that I've already pasted the products requirement document. And all this Lovable app did was ask me one single question. It asked me if I can enable the cloud. All right, so it is building the backend, it is adding the LLM to my app, and do I, am I okay, or it's asking me for permission, right? So that is all that it asked me. And then it gave me all the tools that it's using. It is also telling me what and all it's doing, all the screens and everything. And if I go into preview over here, okay, I'll just close this and I'm getting this website. So this website over here, I can just, I did not specify any session code. So I'm just writing webinar 2026 and I'm just giving the feedback. I can say this session was, only three stars I can just give. And then biggest takeaways, it was really good. Okay. So I'm just self-boasting right now. Okay. And then suggestions for improvement, I'm not giving anything. And for submit feedback, and it's loading right now. Okay. And then confettis and everything. So this is all it was mentioned in the PRD. I just gave a little prompt. ChatGPT gave me a PRD and Lovable just built this in 5 minutes. So I can share this app. I can invite collaborators over here for me. And then GitHub, I can push my project into GitHub to save it, checkpointing the third stage we were talking about, right? So I can do that. And then Lovable is only free for minimum credits. It only has free credits. So right now I have 0.7 left. Okay. So, and then if I want to publish my project, I can just, copy this URL and I can open it in another tab. So I've already opened it over here and it is available in any browser. So I'll make sure I'll, attach it in the meeting so you guys can give me feedback as well. So this is how Lovable is. Within minutes, you can create it. So, and all of the responses and all of your responses will appear over here on the cloud. And this database will have the response. It's loading right now, but the database over here will have a response about who and all gave the feedbacks, not, what names you have typed. So right now there's 6 rows. Okay. It is refreshing because I just gave the feedback, right? So I just gave webinar 2026 and I gave a 3-star rating. It was really good. And I did not give any suggestions and the time is showing all the times. So this is all that it is. But for Lovable, if you want to have a custom domain, like a super base in the backend and database, and for your app, if you want to add something like an authentication, you can always go for super base, which you can connect it with it. But for the only disadvantage in Lovable is that all of publishing in a custom domain is not exactly free. So you have to buy a plan for that. But that is the disadvantage with the browser-based vibe coding tools. But when you take code editors, they are very free, so you can use that. So Superbase, if I connect my Lovable project with the Superbase, I can add user signups and login, and all of my database will be storing here. So that is Lovable, and the same PRD I gave to Replit, which this is how Replit looks like actually. So this is how Replit looks like, and it's only free for a minimum usage limit. So right now I have created about 3 apps. So I have 10 more free apps left. And if I paste my PRD over here, which I have done, I got this app over here. So this is a much better user interface than Lovable, right? So I actually like this much better than Lovable. So if I give start feedback, it has much more bigger fonts, and I can give how would you rate the seminar, and what I'm just giving it again. And submit feedback. So the thing with Replit is that I cannot, it is much better and it has a lighter pink font, layout than Lovable. So I actually really like this. And it was developed within like 5 to 7 minutes, I would say. And over here, you would have the file section. So as I was talking about in debugging, if you find any errors, you can just always look over here to the file section and you can point out. And if you want to edit anything, you can always, click this over here and just go over the template. For example, I don't really like the thank you font. I can specify it and I can mention it over here. So this is how Replit is, and to publish it, publish the Replit actually also costs us money. So that is, the disadvantages I was talking about. So going over to Lovable, I'll paste this feedback URL later on so that you guys can give me your feedback, right? So this is all that it is. And one second. Okay, so there are many tools, as you can see. So right now, as of popular tools as of 2026 is Cursor. So Cursor, we all know Visual Studio Code, right? So that is a code editor, whereas a Cursor is a fork of Visual Studio Code. So it's exactly like Visual Studio Code, but it has AI applied to it. So it's an agentic code editor. So Cursor is like that, and similarly, Windsurf is also a code editor. And then what we have seen over here is Lovable, Replit, and Bolt Neo, V0 by Versal. They are all browser-based vibe coding tools. So you can open these tools in any browser, and you can just log into your account engine and then just work on your project. And Claude Code, it is similar to ChatGPT, Gemini. It is an AI coding assistant tool, and it also gives us, code, and it also has a paid plan as well. And then finally, Base 44, it is for full stack app creation. And there are also many other popular tools available in vibe coding.
So let us look into the pros and cons. So you were hearing about the vibe coding and it really sounds powerful, right? But every powerful thing is two-sided, right? It has its own pros and also its cons. So looking to the pros and cons, let me be very real here. So let us look to the upside potentials first. So the first thing is the speed. Okay. You can move from one idea to working demo in really a hours, and you don't need a week. Anything you can convert within a hours, a demo can be created. So this is really amazing for the students basically. So it will be very useful for us, like when we go to a hackathon or even small startups. It is very useful. And the second is it is low barrier. Like even a beginner or someone who is non-developer can build MVP. So that means like more people can turn their ideas into a reality. It will be very useful for them. And the third thing is it's architecture focus. So you spend less time writing repetitive code so that you can spend more time on improving it and making it even better, rather than writing the same code again and again. And like you spend more time thinking about its system, like how it works and all that stuff. So, and finally it is rapid iteration. So you can try, and then if it fails, you can fix it again and you can improve from that in a very faster manner. If we do in a manual way, it takes more time to fix even. So we fail to improve it, but when we do it faster, we'll be very much engaged to it and all that. So looking to the reality checks, that is the challenges, the first thing is the technical debate. So you cannot blindly trust in AI, right? So if you blindly accept the AI code, it can become messy. So a messy code is very hard to scale later. Like you don't know the code where it is, you cannot go debug that. It becomes so messy. So the second thing is black box risk. So black box risk means sometimes you don't fully understand the code, like what you write. It just gives you. So if I go do it manually, step by step, if I am doing, I'll be more clear on the concept. I know what I am doing. So when I have some error, I can go debug easily. I know, oh, this is here in that line. So I can go and debug easily. But when it generates, we have to go search for it one by one. So the debugging becomes a little more difficult comparatively. So the third thing is less security. So AI may generate like outdated data and even it can generate some unsafe patterns. So this is very much dangerous in real world applications. So, and finally, at last, it's 20% problem. Like AI is good for the 80%, but the final 20%, like the edge cases, like logic depth, and it is still dependent on human expertise, right? So vibe coding is not like a shortcut for avoiding learning, but it is a tool that reward people who understand fundamentals. So with the fundamentals, you can use this vibe coding. So use AI. AI is only for the speed, but it's your responsibility for the brain to do the other things, right? Okay. So then next is in the upcoming years, like in the future, how it is developing, let's see to it. So in the upcoming years, developers can not spend most of their time writing their codes. So they just spend time in designing the system. They think more. They don't spend time on writing all the codes and sitting. So they will guide AI, like review output, and then they make decision. Like small teams will, even a small team can build a powerful product, and ideas will move faster than ever. So vibe coding is mainly for being fast, right? So in the future, it will be like so the most valuable skill is not like knowing so much of languages, Python, Java, not like that. It's like it will be knowing like only the frame of like how do you know to frame problem clearly. That's the only thing. If you know 10 languages, that's not a big thing. The deal is to frame a problem clearly. So, and the entire future can be explained in one simple flow. So first is to think. So you must understand the problem first. Only if you understand the problem, you can find a solution, right? Without even knowing a problem, how can you find a solution? So we must understand the problem first. Then you must describe it. So AI cannot know its problem by its own. So we must like in exams, you go explain your friend like this is what is happening inch by inch very clearly. You used to say your friend everything, right? Likewise, you must explain the AI everything very clearly. And the third thing is to generate. So AI generates the code and everything stuff. No heavy works for you. It takes care. So when you give the first two steps properly, the third heavy work will be done by the AI. So the fourth thing is to refine. So it has given you the code and all that, but your task is to correct it. You must improve it, and for the further improvement, you must guide it. Only then it will know. And the final thing is to scale. So it makes it strong and safe, and it makes it usable. So I say that AI does not replace humans, but humans can think clearly and they can guide AI, and the one who guide AI will define the future. So as we are nearing the end, we'll just talk about best practices to follow. So if you find vibe coding really useful, or if you want to start with vibe coding, I would give these points as the best practices to follow. So the first one being start small and win fast. So if you want to really get into vibe coding, you can't build a full software as a service platform in just 30 minutes or just 10 minutes, right? You have to start small. First, start with building a button or a component or just a layer. Just one screen is enough. And just as you go on, you can build an app, and you can make that app, and you can publish that app, and you can earn money from that app. So it's as starting small is simple, and then you can just go on from that. So narrow the blast radius, which is the second point. Is basically, for example, if you find an error, you don't really have to regenerate the project. You have to understand where the error is. You have to understand every single point. You don't really have to completely overdo the project again. Just understand where it is. Ask the AI. So it's an assistant tool, right? So you just ask the AI, and then it will guide you over it. So then master the art of the undo is basically asking AI. For example, I told about checkpoints and version control, right? So if you do not save your project properly, then you will have this fear of experimenting it. So what if I do this change to it, and what if this just collapses the project overall? So instead of that, push your project into GitHub or save that project properly, so that when you make an error, you can always go back to the last checkpoint that you did. that is mastering the art of the undo, and then treating the errors as a conversation. Just because your app failed, it does not mean that it's it's a failure or some sort of. That is how we learn, that is how we practice, and that is how we learn. So if you get an error, just ask AI, why am I getting this error? What is the reason for this error? Is there any installation problems? Is there any packages problems? Or what is causing this error? And something like that. So it is always, just don't think that it's a failure. Just treat it as a conversation and so on. So, and be the architect, not just the user. Do not dump all of your prompts is what I would say. So as you can see, the reason for the products requirement document is because Lovable, apps like Lovable and Replit that I just showed you right now, they have limited free credits. So you cannot just keep having interactions with them. You cannot keep having conversations with them. So for that, you can just give it an entire products requirement document. But for free apps like, code editors for like such thought, what you can do is just ask it. You can start with a single prompt and then work your way up. So that is how being the architect and not just the user is. And that is the next line. It just follows up, right? So incremental prompting is power. So first you just give the layouts, you just give the packages, and then next you just give the next screen. You just give the, for example, if I want this to be, a button, I want here to have an exit button. I want this to, if the user types something that is irrelevant, then 404 not found, something like that, right? And then second, read the difference and not just the result. And as soon as you type in a prompt and then you get an app, you get a website, do not think about, oh, I got an app. Try to understand. See, that is where you learn. So it won't completely replace you. That is where you learn. Just because you got the result does not mean you just have to focus on the result. You go into the files, you check how the code is being written and how all the framework is working and how the database is being connected, how the backend is working, and what and all API integration that you have to do. So that is all very important, so that you don't completely depend on the AI. You actually learn something out of it. And then finally, give yourself permission to play. That is, only when you experiment things, only when you try different tools, you will actually get to know how cool vibe coding is. So it's in the name itself, right? So it's vibe coding. So it's how cool it is. Only when you play, only that you will learn. After experimenting, you will learn, and then after that you will refine. So these are some of the best practices I would say to learn and to get into vibe coding. If you really want to experiment with vibe coding, you can follow these practices. And it is very important to know, as soon as you begin with vibe coding, you will not build an entire app in a sitting. You can if you want to, but it is not entirely possible. You have to understand, you have to learn. Only when you understand completely, you can build an app, right? So, and then finally, references page, I would say. So these are some of the references that we have seen. So basically, Tina Hung, so the vibe coding fundamentals in 33 minutes. So that is a very helpful video if you want to get it started with. So that is how we began our coding career. And then, vibe coding tools how we started to use. And then this course by Vibe Coding 101 with Replit in collaboration with Deep Learning AI is also a free course. So if you want to get into, if this session actually interested you of some sort, you can actually get into it. I think it's only 1 hour and 44 minutes. So it's very easy course. So I would say vibe coding isn't really the death of programming. So it's not entirely replacing programming. It's just, how creative we are, how liberating it is to be creative. Because, for many years, we had to understand how the machine was, how the machine speaks. And finally, right now, the machine is understanding what we are speaking. So I would say, embrace the context and embrace the tools that are being used, and overall embrace the AI. So we once again thank each and every one of you for this opportunity. So until we meet again, thank you so much.
Excellent session. It was an excellent session with Natania and Sheryl. They covered a vibe coding workflow, and also you demonstrated simple and understandable use case, briefing on the popularity of tools, future trends. The best part is that best practices, and finally you listed all the resources for the participants. It's really wonderful.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I will call upon, first our senior members to visit someone to share their views in today's session. Yes, sir, please go ahead.
Hello. My name is Dr. Venkatesan. I am from Coimbatore chapter. I have been a great follower of vibe coding. So thanks for covering the whole aspect. What do you think vibe coding's future will be?
So I think vibe coding won't exactly replace it, but it's actually just a part of learning. So it's just assistance for us.
So you don't think vibe coding will be used in the IT industry?
It will be, so obviously, like as I already mentioned there, so the upcoming future will be like knowing to prompt, like asking it, and not knowing so much of languages maybe.
I have been a follower. The whole future is on vibe coding. Whether you like it or not, nobody has to verify. Even to verify a vibe coding, there is another AI tool is there. So there is absolutely, we should know how to do a prompting. That's it. Thank you. I think you covered a very detailed one and made a presentation. Thank you for both of you. Thank you, Sheryl sir. Thank you, our professor. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Venkatesan, sir.
Sir, you should share the reference points which they have given. I happen to visit the vibe coding fundamental in 33 minutes, but I think they have more details. If they could share, it will be good. Thank you.
Yeah, sure, sir. Sir, the details.
Senthil Kumar sir, thanks for arranging the students, and I really thank Dr. Ravi Maran to arrange these students actually. So they have done an extremely good job. So are the members of CSI? Student member?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, so
Can
they are not, they need to become actually, and they have to encourage their friends to become CSI also. Because this is our interest, right? Senthil Kumar sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I would request Mr. Rajesh, he is there to share his views also. So,
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it was a nice session.
Yeah, so
Sir, PB sir,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
yeah, so I'm getting some feedback. So it was a very nice session. So by coding, agent decay, and this new way of doing things, right? So so this is going to change the way in which we approach computing and doing things. So unfortunately, like today, just before this meeting, I read a news that the Pentagon, right, the US Department of War, so they have blacklisted Anthropic and ChatGPT or OpenAI, right? So they have been selected for the military purpose, right? So ChatGPT has agreed with all the terms and conditions of military. So their models are going to be used for military purpose and mass surveillance, right? So other side of things, right? So on one side, we are trying to solve the problems of the universe, and on the other side, it is used to, can you mute that participant?
I removed the person.
Okay, so so this technology, right? It is used in many ways, right? Many ways, and some of that is not something very encouraging, right? But definitely it is going to act as it is going to give superpowers to the uh, uh, to the students so that they instead of worrying about this bug fixes and syntax errors and everything, so they can focus on what really matters and focus on the delivery aspect of the product development and achieve things in a kind of astronomical ways, right? So the expectations are very high, right? For example, previously when we attend this design discussions and project meetings, right? So we will discuss certain points and there will be some takeaways, right? So we have some action items that we go and then work and maybe prepare some designs and PowerPoints or pseudo code, etc. Right? Now the expectation is that during the meeting itself we have to do all these things, right? So that is what the from a skill perspective or from a I don't know whether it can be called as even as a soft skill, right? So during the meetings itself, right? Maybe that could be a meeting with the prospective customer, or it could be a meeting with the other teams, or it could be a meeting with the within your organization, right? So the time given to you for preparing a prototype or for preparing a design or to come up with something tangible, right? Or to come up with something that is that we can work on, right? That time is as smaller as that meeting time itself, right? So during the course of the meeting, you are expected to generate all this, and you have to. So the challenge with the human beings is that they also have to adapt with this situation, right? So previously we could be lazy because we would have got hours or days. Now you don't have, right? So that is another aspect of this vibe coding or this agentic AI and this AI in general, right? So then another one is this I mean the code itself, right? So you don't need to even write code, right? So if I'm correct, I believe Cloud or ChatGPT. So they said some of their recent models are written by the AI itself, right? So there is very less human intervention. So I don't know whether vibe coding as such will stay in the near future, but something like autonomous coding, right? So so you create an application, you need to feed it with the roadmap, and you need to tie up with an agent or this AI system, and that will take care of the roadmap, right? So you can phase out the release of the app, and I believe that is what is going to happen, because that already started even with the the models, LLMs, right? So there some of the recent versions are fine-tuned and optimized and targeted uh, uh, autonomously. So maybe with very less human intervention. So yeah, that is where I think this vibe coding is going to be impacted. But definitely there will be human intervention, and in those areas we could definitely use this technology. So that is going to really help us a lot. So thank you once again for this very interactive session and enlightening session. So we all have to we all have some takeaways, and we actually we have to try out these various new models that are getting released, especially the cloud code, cloud co-worker, etc. Right. So these are very much interested in almost many organizations, right? Because it reduces the traditional workload by many-fold, right? So maybe in a finance organization, you have to compare between many documents and come up with a statement and result, financial result, etc. Right? But with these co-workers, or I don't know whether Copilot has that feature. With this co-worker, you can feed it with all these documents, and it will do whatever you do manually, right? So all that is left, all that is required from you is to do the final verification and approval, some checksums and validations, right? That is all that is expected from you, and you are not expected to do the hard way of doing things, right? So it's a very interesting age to live in, and I mean the students, right? So it's a lot of opportunities for them. So they have to actually think differently, because your seniors, or so they were introduced to this programming and some way of doing entering into the industry, and there is a career progression and roles, etc. Right? So now the roles in organization are getting flattened, right? So you won't see multiple levels or project managers. So it is eventually becoming something like there will be like 2 or 3 layers only, right? The organization level is getting flattened, right? So there won't be many managerial roles. So all will be doers, like as mentioned in the discussion, right? Almost everyone will become architects, right? So that's the way things are happening. So it's a very challenging and at the same time very interesting time to be time to live. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rajeshwar, for giving an elaborate feedback. The key takeaway for all the students. Really, it will be inspiring for students. And now we finally call upon Dr. Akila, madam. So,
Sir,
your views, madam.
very nice presentation. Both of you just explained it very well. First of all, I would like to congratulate both of you. And one point from my side is just we can use this, but uh, this particular generation students also have to know the traditional learning method also, so that we can just evaluate whether the result what we are, the coding what we got, or something that is correct, or we can just do some sort of verification. So that is I don't tell that it is missing, but it is less now. The traditional programming is very much less with among the students. So everything what we ask for, even if we ask for some simple programs, people go for this sort of AI help. So getting that from that and doing it's fine, but we also have to know the actual coding. So that is what my feedback. Thank you, both of you. Way to go.
Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, madam, for the compliments. I think, sir, previous sir, anyone in our forum, senior member, wants to convey their wishes?
I don't know, sir.
Okay. So now,
Let them unmute and talk, sir, whoever wants to give.
yeah, session is open. Everybody wants to give compliments, can, or any feedback.
Vishwa, you can say something.
Good presentation, Ma. It is really useful, and it is so useful for the environment. Along with that, we have been known more information about your topics. Thanks for that. Really, it is encourageable to go for this play. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, PVS sir, for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Akila ma'am, and thank you, Sindhu Kumar sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Just will we go to vote of thanks or?
Yeah, please.
Okay, I think we come to the end of session. Today's session was really electrifying. I once again thank Dr. Ravi Moran sir for and our today's speakers, Natania, Sheryl, for delivering a wonderful lecture. It was really I could appreciate a lot. It was coming from the traditional programming background, and of course I'm now not in IT. So we used to do tons and tons of coding, and gone out those days. And definitely a transformation has happened. It's happening. And hopefully students will grab this opportunity to go to the next level in their career. I wish you all the best. I thank all the regions on senior members, special invitees, students who have joined for today's session and made this a grand success. I, and I call it a day. Good night to all. Thank you.
Good night. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Good.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Rajesh.
Just
Thank
one
you.
information we will need. Next, again, Saturday, both Saturday, we will have the student-led program. So kindly join. We will also share the link.
Okay, madam. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Thanks,
sir.
everyone. Thank you. Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, ma'am.